A small girl stood beneath a flickering street lamp, her thin arms wrapped around herself to keep out the winter wind. Her voice trembled as she looked up at the man closing his food stall. "If I sing well, will you give me food?" she asked. The moment hung in the air, fragile, heartbreaking, impossible to ignore. No one on that street expected what would happen next. And if they had walked away too soon, they would have missed the miracle that was about to unfold, the kind that melts hearts and changes lives forever. Chapter 1. The city was loud that night, honking cars, street vendors shouting prices, motorcycles weaving between people. But somehow, her small, shaky voice cut through all of it. She couldn't have been more than 10. Her dress was torn, her hair tangled, and her eyes carried that strange mixture of innocence and exhaustion only children who have seen too much too early possess. The food stall owner, Kareem, paused mid-cleaning. He had seen street kids before, but something about this one unsettled him. Maybe it was the bruises on her wrist. Maybe it was the way she kept glancing behind her, as though afraid someone would drag her back into the shadows. "Sing?" Kareem repeated, unsure what she meant. She nodded quickly. "Yes. People don't give money unless you do something. I can sing. I learned from my mama, before she." She swallowed the rest, voice falling into silence. "If I sing well, will you give me food? Just one meal. I'll be really good, I promise." Kareem felt something crack inside him. He looked down at the leftover food, still warm, still enough for 2 people. But he didn't want to pity her. He wanted to understand her. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Aila," she whispered. "Okay, Aila. Sing." Her small chest rose with a deep breath, and she began softly, almost too softly to hear. Then something extraordinary happened. Her voice blossomed, rising slowly as though it had been waiting years to be heard. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't trained. But it was raw, emotional, the kind that made strangers walking by turn their heads. Kareem froze. The melody, the hurt woven inside it, the trembling hope, it made him forget he was standing on a dirty, noisy street. Even as her voice cracked in places, even as her breath quivered, there was something extraordinary about it. Her heart was singing more loudly than her voice. When she finished, she kept her eyes on the ground. Was it good enough?" she whispered. Kareem didn't answer. Instead, he packed the food, more than she asked for, and placed the container into her cold, shaking hands. Her eyes widened. "Really? All this? For me? You earned it," he said softly. "And more." She ate like someone who hadn't seen real food in days. Between bites, she kept looking up, as if expecting someone to snatch it away. "Where are your parents?" Kareem asked. Her spoon froze in midair. "Mama died. Baba, he left. I sleep near the old bookstore behind the big market. But I won't be trouble. I don't steal. I only sing." Mama said singing keeps the darkness away. Kareem felt a lump rise in his throat. That street behind the market was dangerous, especially for a little girl. He couldn't let her go back there alone. "Aila," he said firmly, "you're not sleeping outside tonight." Her spoon dropped. I can't go with strangers." That one sentence told Kareem everything he needed to know. Someone had taught her that the world was not safe. "You're right," he said calmly. "You shouldn't trust strangers. So here's what we can do. Sit near the stall. I'll pack up. We'll go to the police station. You can stay there for the night. They'll help you." Her eyes widened with fear. "No police, please. They always chase us away. And some men, they wait outside. It's worse." Her words chilled him. Before he could respond, a man appeared at the end of the street. Aila's face drained of color. "That's him," she whispered in terror. "I have to run." But she didn't get the chance. The man spotted her and started moving faster. And in that single moment, Kareem made a choice that would change all their lives. "Stay behind me," he said. Chapter 2. Kareem stepped forward without thinking, planting himself between the approaching man and the trembling girl behind him. The man had rough hands, angry eyes, and the swagger of someone used to intimidating others with ease. "That girl is with me," Kareem said calmly. The man smirked. "She's trouble. Runs around making a mess. I'm taking her. Do you know him, Aila?" Kareem asked without turning around. Her voice was barely a breath. "He makes us beg. If we don't bring enough money, he hits us. I ran today." A fire lit inside Kareem, anger, protectiveness, something fierce and unshakable. She's not going with you, he said. The man advanced. Move. Before Kareem could respond, 3 other stall owners, old friends of his, noticed the commotion. Without hesitation, they walked over and stood beside him. 4 grown men now stood between the abuser and the girl. You heard him, one vendor said. She's staying. The man saw he was outnumbered. He spat on the ground, glared at Aila, and stormed away, threatening under his breath. Aila collapsed onto her knees, shaking uncontrollably. You're safe now, Kareem murmured, kneeling beside her. No one will hurt you anymore. She clung to his sleeve like a terrified kitten. And for the first time that night, she cried, not silent, fearful tears, but deep, releasing sobs as though her tiny body had carried too much for too long. Kareem's wife, Sarah, soon arrived. He had called her while packing up. When she saw the child, her heart melted instantly. She removed her own shawl and wrapped it around Aila's shoulders. Come home with us tonight, Sarah said softly. Just tonight. You'll be warm and safe. Aila hesitated, torn between fear and longing. But, why? She whispered. I'm nobody. Sarah cupped her face gently. No child is nobody. That night became the beginning of a beautiful new chapter for Aila. Over the days that followed, Sarah and Kareem discovered her talent wasn't just a spark. It was a flame waiting to grow. They recorded her singing on a phone and uploaded it online. Within weeks, people everywhere heard her voice. Comments poured in, encouragement, love, offers to help. A local music teacher volunteered to train her. A community fundraiser started for her schooling. The street girl who once begged for food through song suddenly found herself surrounded by strangers who believed in her talent. Months passed. Aila began to smile again, slowly, shyly, but genuinely. She started wearing clean clothes, attending classes, sleeping in a real bed. The bruises faded. The fear faded. Her voice grew stronger, full of hope instead of hunger. One evening, at a community event, Aila performed on a small stage for the very first time. The entire neighborhood gathered. Kareem and Sarah stood at the front, their eyes glistening with pride. When she finished her song, the crowd erupted into applause. Aila blinked through tears. Thank you, she said into the microphone. For the first time in my life. I feel like I belong somewhere. She looked at Kareem and Sarah, her new family in every way that mattered. And thank you, she added softly, for giving me food, and giving me a life. The people who once passed her without seeing her were now cheering for her. The man who once controlled her was gone. The streets that once frightened her were now filled with faces that protected her. Her voice had saved her. But it was kindness, the simple, unexpected kindness of a stranger, that changed her destiny. And from that day on, whenever anyone heard her sing, they felt it. Not just her talent, but her journey, her courage, her survival, her light. A street girl once asked, if I sing well, will you give me food? But the world ended up giving her far more than that. It gave her a future. And a family. And a chance to shine.